looked down and noticed that I hadn't put my primary flight display and the navigation display as well as my tablet, so you guys didn't know what I was doing here, so my apologies. Alright, so we're in Winnipeg, and let's see, get our initial GPS location. I set these on a line, on DC self-test, align, good. Alright, so let's see what we can do here. Okay. Alright, so there's the camera moving. I've also got one set up where, well, that one's for the iPad, so that's for the TQ. We'll leave that one there. And then of course I've got this one that shoots down onto the pedestal, and then I've got one that zooms in on the MIP, and then of course the wide angle shot, so we'll leave that one on there. Alright, so we're good there. You guys can focus on the TQ for this flight. Get our flight plan in, go RTO. Route, load, legs, execute. Alright, so the departure, let's see what SimBrief has us going here. Alright, so 13, departure, and there's no, it's just direct Libby, okay. And on the arrival, 27, Dunham 6 Dunham. RNAV Yankee, Dunham. Okay, let's look at this and see. Dunham Pimpy, okay. Okay, load our perf. I want to double check and make sure that the ProSim app, Carlo had instructed me to reset this on the cockpit setup. This is regarding the movement of the yokes and how they work in autopilot mode. So under options, you've got some settings here. Auto, pilot, pitch channel. Previously it was set to trim, and I've got it set on elevator now. And I saved that as a default, so I just want to make sure that it was staying there. And if for those of you who don't know, this ProSim instructor operating station, this is the interface between Microsoft Flight Simulator and the hardware here, and all the associated effects and things that it does, the weights, everything that controls all of the instrumentation and the failures. If you wanted to do failures, it's got maps. It's pretty sophisticated. Alright, so let's load this. Clear this out of here. So ZFW is 123.4. 123.4. So I can go over here to my weights, and ZFW is 123. That's good. So that my CG is 21.2. 21.2. Look at my takeoff data here. 13. And 21.2, and the select temperature is 48. Put that here. We got a D rate of 1 on the climb, and we will go to flaps 5. I'm sure, yes. CG is 21.2. That's what I was getting off ProSim, and that sets my CG so I can adjust the trim here. 560. Now, Carlo, if you're watching this, I noticed in the FS hub. Let's see. So I noticed in the FS hub software, the new software, that there's a slight change in the trim. The default was 20 on the older version of TQNG, and in the hub version, the default trim speed set for this is 16. So I put it back at 16. I had it at 12, which I guess was okay, but it still ran much faster when I took it out of autopilot on that, as I described earlier. When you're flying and you're on approach, usually you disengage autopilot about 500 feet, AGL, and so when I did that, then the trim starts, when I effectively work the trim here, this wheel spins super fast, super fast. And that's what Pat was concerned about when he had brought that to my attention, that he felt like this wheel was spinning really fast and was going to be hard on the servo motor. So I just wanted to point that out. All right, so let's go back to, we'll put that back on the TQ. I don't need to look at my ugly mug. All right, so we've got the trim set, CG set. And according to takeoff, we're 144, 146, 152. So 144, 146, and 152 for V2. 152 for V2, and we'll set that up here. 152, 152. Good. All right, that's all we need there. And we're just direct to the waypoint, so there's no star, or excuse me, there's no SID involved here. So let's take a look at the airport information. We are going to be departing on runway 13, and that is 135. Let's see, there's no, so our cruise altitude, there's no restrictions on departure, as there is no standard instrument departure denoted here. Cruise altitude is 36, it's an hour-long flight. .36 in overhead, and here at, we're 784 at the current Winnipeg, so we'll set that at 800. Okay, so we're set here, that's good. We'll leave this in, believe the FO CDU in progress stage. So, all right, let's do a quick fire test. Default good, that's 2 lights, should have 11. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Check squibs 1. Check 3 lights, squibs 2, 3 lights, green, we're good. All right, wipers are off, hydraulics are all off, fuel's all off. I'm gonna leave 1 on. We've got steady lights there. We have right for the first start of the day. All of the lights here are off. We're gonna go ahead and put our electrical on and do our window heats. LE devices are good. Engine reversers are off, EECs are on and guarded. Crew oxygen's 15, passenger oxygen is normal and guarded, and flight recorder test is good. Mach 1, Mach 2 is good, PSEU is off, flight controls are on and guarded. Alternate flaps are off and guarded. Spoilers are on and guarded. Yaw damper is on. Navigation is normal, normal, normal. Display sources are auto and normal. Crossfeed valve is opening and is functioning as desired. We'll leave all the fuel off but pumps 1 forward for the APU and go ahead and start that now. We have the lights on. We'll do a wing body overheat test. Check. Voice recorders auto, trim air's auto. Air conditioning across the cabin, forward and aft, is normal. Recirc fans are in auto. Packs are in auto. Isolation valve is auto. APU will come on board. APU bleed will come on once we get her up, and the engine stay on. Engine bleeds stay on all the time. We're pressurization set to auto. Okay, so we're good there. Across the bottom, we got nose wheels on and guarded, or I should say normal and guarded. Panels normal. Speed and N1s are set to auto. We'll reset the fuel flow since we're starting the APU, and the auto brakes are set to rejected takeoff. Flaps are indicating 0. We have 3 greens on the nose gear, 3 greens overhead, and the handle is down. Flaps are up. Spoiler brake, speed brake is retracted, and the idles are in engine cutoff. Check the trim. As checked. And we are going to do a cargo fire test.
Glide slow.
Or, excuse me, ground proximity warning test.
Wind shear. Wind shear.
Make sure the traffic is off and there's no weather on. That's good. We'll do a cargo fire test. Check. And see if I can do the test on the radar.
Monitor
Alright, so
radar display. Go around. Wind shear ahead.
auto flight annunciator check. 3 amber.
Ahead.
2 resin and amber check. And let's do a lights test. The lights test is good to do because oftentimes you never see many of these lights, and so having them in this position is good to see those that are not normally lit. Emergency exit lights and passenger seats are on, or seatbelt signs are on. Okay, I am good with that. And we have APU, ground power's off. Get this up if anybody happens to be watching. I apologize, I haven't okay, all good. Just reviewing the MCP, make sure I've got it the way I want it. Okay. Alright, turn that off. Yep, that's all good. Let's get a quick check of our weather. Niner 82. Alright, 2982 is set. I'm just reviewing these because this is something that we're going to be, Tim and I are going to be working on during WorldFlight, so just wanted to double check how the flows would go for FO. So check some quantities. We got 100% on the hydraulics, that's good. We have 1818 on the oil quantities, so that's good. What else? Hydraulics. The other thing I can do is put the electricals on real quick, put it back on here just to see I've got pressure. So On the lower DU, this is where you read your hydraulic pressures, and I'm indicating 2960 and 2990 respectively for A's and B systems, so that's good. And clock, 1446, denote the departure time. All right, I'm good. We will swap this over. There we go. Primary flight display is indicating 45 knots on the speed tape, 152, so we have V2 indicating 36,000 on the altitude, and local field elevation jives with what's indicating on the display, so I'm comfortable with that. 21 degrees C on the temperature, so let's call for push. Let's see, let's try something. Since I am, might as well try to fly it for joint AVA, since that's what I'm doing. A lot of times frequently what I'll do is, because Pat set it up to where we can either use smart cars to file the flight plan, or we can just file it afterwards. If you do use the app, it makes it kind of nice. You do get a little moving map feature, which is kind of nice. So let's just go ahead and it's also got some music, Sky Blue Radio. I wish they had the option to use your own radio. Let's see, port from SimBrief, okay. Okay. Okay, so we're check. It's good there. It shows we're boarding, so we'll leave that there. Go back over to still no one is in Winnipeg. So what do we have here for Edmonton radio tower 118.3? And then we'll move this over to 122.8 once we get airborne. There we go. And we are on 1. Okay. Since it's a little quiet, we can get a little background chat. I don't care too much, as many of you who know me, I'm not a huge fan of Say Intentions is coming a long way, but it's just not where I envision AIATC to be at this point. So we are on to radio. Let's see what would be good. Departure 125.4. All right, so we got a little bit of audio chatter in the background. That'll be nice. All right, so we're currently see parking position charts.
Heavy, RNAV Doctor, wind 260 at 4, runway 25 right at Foxtrot.
Parking 10.9B. So it tells you up here for park position, see chart 10.9B. So let's go here. And where are we? 10, I think we're at apron 110, terminal building, gate 10, stand 10. Okay.
Good morning, Heavy 767.
We're at stand 10.
Runway 25 left.
So let's go back to our
FedEx 3610 Heavy, contact departure.
Departure, good morning, FedEx 3610 Heavy.
Winnipeg traffic, American 714, terminal spot, gate 10, pushing back to Echo.
Hello, Captain. We are ready
Winnipeg
for pushback.
traffic.
Winnipeg traffic, can I request a mic check, please?
691 heavy. Make the turn, hold short, runway 25 left.
Make a turn for FedEx 691 heavy, hold short 25 left.
Fuel on.
FedEx 691 heavy, Foxtrot, cross runway 25 left, hold short, runway 25 right.
Rudder cross runway 25 left at Foxtrot, hold short at 25 right, FedEx 691 heavy.
Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted.
FedEx 691 heavy, do you have the numbers for Foxtrot departure?
So I typically, you saw earlier where I set the, you can see here in the FMC, center of gravity is 21.2 and the trim is set to 5.6. Well, there's also on the upper DU and the lower DU, there's also a digital readout. The stab trim is indicated here, and it's pretty close. It's like 550, 560. So I mean, this is reasonably accurate, but this is what I watch when I'm flying. And when I see it going from full one end to the other, that's when I get concerned. And the last flight that I did yesterday, that's what it was doing. I ended up basically taking it off of autopilot, manually trimming it, and then just hand flying it on the way in for the entire approach because it just was too far off. But that's okay. All right, so we're looking for 13, so we want the nose to the right.
Release parking brakes, please.
Parking brake release. We're going to go anti-collision lights off, packs off, and start number 2. N2 coming up.
FedEx 691 heavy contact departure.
Switch departure of FedEx 691, good morning. Morning.
So the 477 heavy, turn left on.
Looking for 26.
Left on Alpha.
25, 26. Fuel cut off to engine idle.
American 2027, runway 25 right, line up and wait. Heavy MD-11 departed, caution with your
25 right, line up and wait, America 2027.
All right, so we're still looking for
Please set parking brakes.
hot start,
Waiting your confirmation for a good
but we'll
engine
go ahead and
start.
start number 1.
Fokker, wind 260 at 8, runway 25 right, clear for takeoff.
25 right, civil Eagle for American 2027, hour after dock.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect. Unlocking gear.
There's 26.
62 tower, runway 25 left, clear to land.
Good land, runway 25 left.
Alpha 6005, runway 25 right, line up and wait.
It's not much for nose right, but okay. I see we have a couple of people watching. If you have any questions, feel free to chime in. I have my one camera focused down here on the TQ so that we can monitor what's going on here. So there we go. So we got an engine start, looking for verify hot start. And we're good. So we're going to go prepare for taxi. We're going to put our engines on the bus. Hydraulics all on. Probe heats are on. Packs left and right in auto. APU is off. APU bleed off. APU off. Put our taxi lights on. And we're looking good. And we have a Delta landing, so that's interesting. All right. You're not ready? Okay, I still see you out there. Let me know when you're done so we can get out of here. Bye.
Padua 6005 at Juliet, cross runway 25 right, contact ground 27.
I guess we could go this way and sneak around. Less of a tight turn. Got another landing traffic here, good. So let's take a look.
Contact, continue full. Schedule 124, runway 25 right, line wait.
Yeah, we have a couple aircraft inbound here, or that's just me. And there's one other one there, it looks like.
On 86, next to land, 11 mile final, Foxtrot, proceed westbound, runway 25 left. From Foxtrot, 25 left,
Yeah, so this should be Foxtrot, yep.
Schedule 124, RNAV Doctor, wind 250 is 7, runway 25 right, with the signal. Runway 25 right, RNAV Doctor,
So we'll go up here, we'll cross poor markings, unfortunately. Go up to Foxtrot, and then Papa across to get to 13. This should be Papa coming up here.
Continue approach, expect landing times on a 2 mile final, routine runway inspection confirmed. At 1762, taxi, Hotel de Juliet. Taxi, Hotel de Juliet, 1762.
All right.
1762 at Juliet, cross runway 25 right, contact ground 27.
This should be Papa, and it says it's Gulf. Okay, interesting. All right.
Approaching 1-8.
Winnipeg traffic, American 714, crossing runway 18 at Papa. Winnipeg traffic. No, nobody coming.
Up at 6062, wind 250 at 8, runway 25 left, clear to land.
Land 25 left from 6062.
Yeah, so with these 85-inch screens, with my periphery, I can see the edge of the screen is back behind me, so it's just a little bit back behind my shoulder on the right side. This side is back, way back over here. In fact, I need to adjust my camera a little bit so you can see a little bit farther back behind me here. All right, so boy, it's a little blustery up here. I can see that windsock is flailing. All right, flight attendants be seated. Auto throttle is on. All right, so this says G. Why does this say Papa? This says G. Interesting.
Approaching
Winnipeg
1,
traffic,
3.
American 714, departing runway 13, straight out. Winnipeg traffic.
Delta 409, RNAV Del Rey, wind 280 at 5, runway 24 left, quick takeoff.
There's a FedEx on the field. All right. And light steady.
On runway 13.
All right.
Flaps. Flaps.
So flaps 5. Chrono started. Throttle up to 40%. Look for stabilizing. And toga. And looks like we have takeoff thrust set to D1. Airspeed live. And we're looking for 144. 100 knots. 120. 130. 141. V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Auto brake off. So I just made sure TARA was on. I put my traffic on, and then we can also put our weather on. Not that we need it, but. All right, so we can close this off and get our flight plan. And so I'll end up taking a right turn to intercept. VNAV, LNAV on, although we're still in heading mode. So we're climbing above magenta line, so that's looking good. Flaps up. The legs, Liv B is going to be the direct waypoint. Yeah, not on intercept heading yet. Not going to worry about that just yet. Wait till we get a little bit closer. So this feels normal as far as how the trim wheel should be responding. I like that. So we'll go. Still don't like the intercept heading, huh? Okay. Probably too far out. No altitude restriction, so we're climbing unrestricted. There we go. And we'll go command 1 now, and it'll tag it. All right. After takeoff checklist, auto brake is off. RTO is off. Taxi lights off. We'll leave our engine start switches in continuous. Anti-collision on. Strobe is strobe. Everything else looks good. So the whole impetus of this flight was to really check the TQ to see how the software is running, see how it's affecting, because you can see there's a little bit of movement. I hope you can see that. If you can't, let's see. So you should be able to see a little bit of movement in the pitch axis on the yoke. Yeah, you can definitely see a little bit of movement there, and that's what we had set up when we changed it. There's 10,000 lights off. We had moved it from trim to elevator in the ProSim iOS, and that started showing me the movement in here, which I was missing. I thought that was kind of unusual. So that's working now. And then also the speed, so you can see you may be able to see on this side where the trim tab is located on the wheel, and it coincides with the current set, which is 3.35 or 3.25. So a little nose down trim as we're climbing out. Flaps are all up. Speed brake is off, so we're good. Almost at 295 knots indicated. And there we go. So now we're direct Libby. Weather looks decent. Smooth ride so far. Turn the passenger seat signs off. Seatbelt signs let the passengers run about the cabin a little bit. Got a few viewers, no one commenting, but that's okay. And my good friend Xavier over in Belgium and I have been working on some, well actually he initiated it. We deduced that, or he did, he came up with the idea of the logic with these triple displays. All this new NVIDIA frame gen and so forth really has no effect on what we're doing in DirectX 12 and so forth, because most of that technology it's all focused on one screen. And as much as I love a lot of the content creators out there that do a fantastic job, most all of them only have one screen that they're working with. You may have a utility screen that you're doing some other stuff, but as far as the simulator, there's only one screen that's providing any visuals for your flight. So all of that technology is only affecting one screen. But when you have triple screens with the external view, obviously doing the math is a whole lot more. This is like the equivalent of 12 1080p screens as opposed to one 4K screen, which would be 4 1080p screens. So big differential or delta in the mathematical dynamics going on there. Anyway, without getting into too much detail, he came up with the logic of going back to some of the older settings for DirectX 11. So believe it or not, even with a 4090 Ti or 4090 graphics card, I'm only running 2K on all three screens in TAA in DirectX 11. And so we're tweaking all the settings for that so that we have the optimum smoothness, and it's like butter. That and using auto FPS, it's really nice. So anyway, we're going back and forth looking at some settings and just to fine tune it, because we've had so many updates. I don't really know where we are on a lot of this. So let's see what Mr. Xavier says. So I asked him a few questions about where we stood on this, and so he's got a couple of 5090s in the box he hadn't even opened yet. All right, so let's see.
So far, the trim has been very, very quiet.
which it's trimmed out for 9, so it should be. That's good. Yeah, I know for many people these flights are boring, and I just record them just for posterity's sake primarily, and to go back and when things happen and you want to go back and try to explain to someone, you know, what you experienced in a particular flight, the video is so much better than any other ways of copying it. So, and it's a good way to meet people. All right, so let's see if we can do a little editing here. All right, so let's see if that worked. Okay. Alright, so that one's good. So let's go to the stop. Replace one occurrence. Alright, so I've replaced the hub to cube with the hub, so that's good to go. Alrighty. So while we're just cruising up here, I had a few people ask about the system and what's involved. So essentially you've got Microsoft Flight Simulator running on a single PC, which is an AMD 9800X3D. That's running down here, and it's got the 4090 GPU in it, both liquid cooled. And then there's ProSim that's running on it, but essentially that's really about all that's on that PC. Microsoft Flight Simulator is the only thing that's really running on it. Then I've got, there are 3 PCs in the MIP here, the main instrument panel. One for the captain's side that runs the ProSim software for these displays. Another one on the first officer side that runs the NG and PFD sides. The CDUs are self-contained units. They have their own processors in them, and they communicate with ProSim. And then there's an audio NUC. So there's basically 3 very small, low-power computers. The NUC PC is a little, I call it a PC in a box. And so they've got graphics built into them that drive these displays and enough CPU power to handle the logic for what's needed. The software for the throttle quadrant runs on the visual PC, and the software for the control loading yokes and the captain's tiller runs on the CPU, the main PC, but it's not taxing it very hard. And essentially that's it. Couple of scripts, PowerShell scripts that are written that kind of launch everything, and that's pretty much the extent of it. ProSim handles all of the communication between the hardware that you're looking at and the actual simulator. And now we're pulling back our throttle. You can see the throttle's coming back automatically. I wish you guys could see a little bit better image, and I guess the only way to get like the upper DU and the lower DU, which this should be off by the way, to get those displays up where you could see them as would require like Air Manager or something. But the main displays that I have for you guys are the 2 CDUs, which is everything that drives the navigation of the airplane, and the 2 main instrument panels, the primary flight display and the navigation display. And that's really the heart of it. So anyway, if there are any other specific questions about how the system works and what's involved and what do I have to do, biggest thing is occasional Windows updates. That's about it. Double checking all of the USB, going to Device Manager and Windows and double checking to make sure that all of some of the settings, as anybody that fools with these things knows, Windows sometimes will set these USBs to automatically shut off for whatever reason, save energy or something. So there's probably, I don't know how many in this system. There's 15 or 20 USB configurations throughout Windows that I'll have to go in and check and make sure that they haven't turned off or they don't have the auto enable shutdown, because that would be very detrimental. Anything that's USB connected, to have that turn off. So you have to check that periodically, but generally there's not much to do. I just always cross my fingers and pray that when I get either a Microsoft software simulator update, that something's not going to break. But lately I think it's been pretty good. Haven't had any real issues. It's only gotten better over time. And I'm really on the fence wanting to try 2024, but I do have it installed. I've done everything that Carlos initially suggested that I do, as far as everything should work, but I'm not kidding. When I hook it up, 2024 is up and running, everything looks good, the airplane's in the right position, I got the ProSim module, everything loaded as I think it's supposed to be. But when I hit the battery switch in here, nothing happens. So there's something's not communicating correctly. So I'm just not going to worry about it right now with WorldFlight on the horizon. It's just not that important. Where did I? There we go.
Traffic 270 Hotel, turning left base, runway
132.25.
November 9122 Golf, use caution. I'm going to be talking to a November 912 Golf Lima on another frequency.
Falcon 1922 Golf, understand.
1922 Golf. All right, so we are 126 miles from top of drop.
269 for flow and descent maintained by level 360. By level 360.
So what's happened, what I've experienced in the past was when we start on the descent and I apply the first notch of flaps into the system, then the TQ will start trimming the airplane for the increased lift that the notch of flaps or the gear down will do. And we had it all dialed in beautifully for a while there, and then this only changing, the only thing that I changed was the speed of the wheel, the servo motor that spins the actual wheels on the trim, and then set the system in iOS for the elevator versus the trim on the control loading. But that's totally unrelated. I don't know why that would have any effect on it. So, but, and again, it could be with some updates from Microsoft that were causing some of that. So it's hard to say. So let's take a look here at the first officer flows. Just kind of reviewing through here.
Airman 42, coming 7132.62.
They do have some interesting pieces of information that I haven't seen in other areas. So there's a climb flow for the FO, the check pressurization, check the cabin temperature, verify the start switches are in the desired position, make sure the APU is off, monitor the fuel system, you know, make sure the pumps are okay, monitor the fuel flow, the balance of the fuel. Like, we're off a little bit right now, but not enough to be too concerned with. Radios, monitor guard 121.5. It's kind of really hard to do because you can only listen to one frequency in VATSIM at a time, so I'm not sure about how the guard's going to work. Pilot flying calls climb checklists, so when we're climbing out, and then
Good afternoon, Allegiant 73 is 1000, contact deviation 1 at level 190.
270, climb maintain post 380.
Climb maintain level 380, 38 for Allegiant 73.
So assuming this is their climb checklist, because they didn't highlight that like they did all the other pieces, but at flight level 180, obviously we want to set our standard altimeter, or whatever country you're in, its specific altimeter setting. Check wing lights, logo lights. Captain, make sure that all of these lights are off, but the FO would be looking at wheel well lights, wing lights, logo lights, that sort of thing. Don't need the logo light on in the daytime. And then before top of descent, we want to check our ATIS. So I can come over here to our airports and go to Saskatoon and look at the weather here. And it looks like it is 2964. So we can go ahead and set that now. Now I will have to change this when Tim gets here for a WorldFlight, because right now I've got this set up in ProSim. When I control both altimeter settings with my captain's EFIS here, but I can turn it off to where you have to do them independently, and then of course I do the standby manual. Alright, so PWB. So the other thing we do is I come in here to my init and I set my approach reference speed. So flaps 30 is normal. That's 30 degrees at 142. Set that in here to this line select 4, and now that's done. Now I got a reference here of 142 on my PFD, so I'll know what my speed is, and I know flaps 30. So. And then the other thing I can do is, if you go to your legs page, is you can go to your route data and request winds aloft, and this will, I haven't seen it really do much difference or have any much of effect, but it can update the winds depending on how active sky is running, and then apply them. I've yet to see any real drastic change in here. And then we can also come over here and you can look at some pages of information. So this is showing our progress for our current waypoint. We have basically a 4-knot headwind, but it's a crosswind from the left at 22 knots. Winds actually reading 207 at 22, which you can see here in the navigation display. Outside temperature is minus 52. ISA, 4-degree deviation, Celsius deviation. True airspeed, GPS track 297. So just a little bit of information there. Go back to our progress page, and then I will return this to legs. PWB, so if I come over here to my OFP and look at the landing data, I do think it was, we are arriving 27. So that's correct, and 2964 is the altimeter. So if we calculate this, this will give us, like, my auto brake setting is going to be 3. That's the main thing I get off of this. But just verify, yes, flaps 30, auto brake on for sure. Tells you what your weight should be when you're at that landing point. The other thing I look at is my fuel when I'm at my destination, 9.6. So I know I've already got 30 minutes of reserve fuel that I've programmed into it, just because I wanted to have that for WorldFlight. So not much else I need here. Just you can look at your outputs for your actual landing distance. So I'm going to need 5,800 feet based on my weight and approach speed. Factored landing distance 7,700 feet, so it gives you where your range is. So that's, let me see what the airport looks like. Yeah, so 27 is 8,300 feet, so there's a 700 foot margin. All right, so now that we're here, let's look at the charts for Saskatoon. Approach is going to be RNAV Yankee 27. I believe that was it, wasn't it? Yep. Yes, RNAV Yankee 27. 1654 is the field elevation, so put that at 1700. And inbound heading is 150. And we're on the Dunham 6 arrival, so let's see what the minimum altitude's going to be on it. 6 at S box, a maximum. I don't think we're going to be, that's for 33, so let's just put, I'm going to put 6 initially, because there is a hole at 6. And let's see, legs. Yeah, Atura. All right, so we are coming into Atura. It's one of our waypoints. Atura, then Knox. All right, so let's go back over here. Interesting, don't really see what I'm expecting to see here. Oh. Why don't we take that off and get the right runway? Better. All right, there's Noxug, Atura Noxug 270. That's why you look at these things and study them. Because everybody can make a mistake if you don't cross-check and verify. All right, that looks good. Let's go back to legs and put this back on map. All right, so Knox is 31, so we're going to bring this on down at 31. That's our final approach fix. And on Barrow, we are looking at 1961. Now, Carlo, if you happen to be watching this, I'd be curious if we had that to make that setting on the Barrow where it was like doing a 2 increments of 2 instead of 1, and it was almost impossible to get it dialed in. Is there an adjustment for the Barrow setting on the minimum side? Because this can take a while to dial in when you're looking at 1961. $750. You can see it on your screen how it's just ticking along. I'm holding it full tilt, and it's just taking a while to get there. So we're looking at 1961. We're getting there. 1961 barrel, so that's set. Okay, so PWBs are done, auto brakes are set, approach reference speeds are set, minimums are set. We've discussed the briefing, so we looked at the Dunham. Dunham? All right, so the transition altitude is 18,000, so that's good. Descent planning, aircraft planning, the ILS runway 9, no, that's not us. We're going 27. So, Arturo, yep, above 4,000 at Arturo, so that's all set. So we've got altitude restriction pre-programmed, so there's nothing else really in that. So according to this pilot flying the arrival briefing, start transition, altitude, speed restrictions with transition level, adverse weather. Looks pretty good. Special information about the airport, minimum equipment list items, approach type, flaps, brakes, touchdown point, lasso, transfer of aircraft, taxi route, hotspots, etc. And then the next thing is going to be the descent checklist, which would be landing lights on, etc., etc. So that looks pretty good.
South 5720, flight present heading, vector 4 sequence, expect direct range down.
Present heading, encompass 5720.
This just refuses to click.
Airbus 5890, through direct range down.
Through direct range of Airbus 5890.
South 5720, clear direct range.
Directly to range of compass 5720.
United 1777, contact.
So I've just got the approach overlay on top of this for now.
Level 566, say Mach number.
0.79.
Level 566, ground to reduce speed, maintain Mach point 76.
76 on 566.
Level 566, descend and maintain flight level 240, and in the transition maintain 2809.
240 on the altitude, 280 in the airspeed, no transition, Delta 566.
Just reading an email from Carlo saying what the procedure is for
Transition maintain 2809.
Just want to maintain 240 on transition, but 280 not.
on how to test the new software, which I've already got installed and I've got it running. So we're good so far.
Flight maintain flight level 370.
Flight level 370, American 491.
All right, so we started our descent.
Level 566, contact Thunder 125.
Saw the yokes. Now the yokes are tracking correctly. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so I wanted to make sure that this is recording on the TQ activity. So Tim, if you're watching, I think once you get here, we're going to do a couple of flights on this, and I kind of like the way the flow of it is. It's covering a lot of material, but it doesn't seem to be
5890, contact center 125.
overwhelming,
2565 OC.
and actually goes in a lot of detail that we don't cover in some other instances. So yeah, I like it.
Southwest 223, you have a right report.
And I like the fact that it's got a built-in checklist that's all encompassing from before start to the parking checklist. So again, and it reiterates the same thing on the, approaching 18,000. We're going to go back to our current setting. That's on the climb out before descent. We've done the ATIS, the performance weight and balance, request landing data. We did that on the OFP. We reviewed the data. We looked at the margins for the landing runway, so that's all good. We have the auto brake set to 3. Approach speed and it refs are all set. I did that in the, see this is in the approach ref, so that's all taken care of. Yeah, and this is good. Shoulder harnesses, don't have any of those yet. Giovanni, if you're watching, can you set me up with some shoulder harnesses, 5-point shoulder harness for the seats? That'd be great. Flight level transition, approach checklist, flight level, that's it, approach checklist. This is 10,000, call the flight attendants, press the call, the monitor, 10,000 flight attendants notified. First officer, 10,000 foot pressurization check, seatbelts insured, before landing is the flap set. So yeah, it's a pretty comprehensive list. All right. We are still on engines continuous, so I'll turn those off for a second and then I'll put those back on.
Okay, flow to 250 Southwest 223.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain from the flight deck. I just wanted to let you know we have begun our descent into Saskatoon, and we should be on the ground in about 20 minutes. So we put the seatbelt sign on, get help the flight attendants prepare the cabin for arrival. We appreciate that. We want to thank you for flying with American Airlines today, and hope if your travel plans, when they call again, that you will fly with American on your next time around. And we hope you enjoy your stay in Saskatoon and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks again for flying with us. So I'm watching the speed. Speed bug set at 270, and we're climbing a little bit, but it's not running away. My main concern at this point is watching our flight path, make sure that that's staying consistent. Yeah, we're on path, so that's good.
Bravo Zulu Alpha, Southwest 1951.
We have just a minor imbalance of 15 on the fuel left to right, so I'm just going to shut the left sides off and open the crossover cross-feed valve and let it adjust a bit.
26, 013.
Not really too worried about the speed. There's no speed restrictions, I don't believe, except 250 at 10,000. Max 90 at Arturo is 190, but we got plenty of time before we get to there. Does it say that? Yeah, it says speed required there. So now it's asking me to, or suggesting I get spoilers out to slow down, because it's not going to slow down any quicker. Again, keep an eye on the fuel, 435, 447. You can try to balance those out here. It takes a little bit longer because we're not burning any fuel, we're on idle. Now we're 21 miles from Pinpee, but we won't, until we get to Dunham, we won't show up on the map, because that's all, it's not that close up. That's a zoomed in, or not to scale section. beautiful day. All right, 435, 444. For those of you who are flight enthusiasts, I assume if you're watching this, you are. There's a couple of guys that if you haven't heard of them, you should check them out on YouTube. They're called Cockpit Casual, and let's see if I can find Cockpit Casual. And I've been watching this 3-part series on Road Warriors, and it's really, really, really good. Except for the commercials. But nomadics are ferry pilots. They ferry aircraft all over the place, and really got their start kicked off during COVID when they were ferrying a lot of aircraft back and forth across the Pacific. And I mean, it's just, they do a great storytelling sequence, and it's very entertaining to watch these guys. I don't know how long it's going to take to do anything on here, so let's do this. Go back here. I'll check it in a little while, but just look up Cockpit Casual on YouTube. You'll enjoy them for sure. All right, so we're 435, 436, so we're almost there. There we go. All right, so put the fuel pumps back on and close the cross feed valve, and we're good. So we now go 35, 35. All right, so we're turning to Dunham. We should pop in here pretty soon on the map. Clear that drag required, 290 at 18, and 2964. We'll put our engines back on continuous. Monitor the outside temperature 7s plus, so we don't have to worry about icing. Let's see if we can get some approach. It'd be nice if this would automatically switch over, but so we'll notify the flight attendants at 10,000. That ding, that ping lets them know what altitude we're at, and they know that at 10,000 feet that we're very close to landing, that they need to wrap up their duties. We're going to put our lights on. Not seeing any traffic out here at all, though. There's one aircraft out surmised to the south of me. And a 777. Tell you, the scenery has come a long way since I've started doing satellite representation. Absolutely amazing. That on, at least you can see that on the screen too. So 33 nautical miles out, 16:03, so we're 10 minutes out, touchdown. All right, so there's 10,000. Slow down, baby, slow down. So I just put a 15-mile ring out on the field on the same course heading inbound at 270, so that's the radial. Lights are on. Landing lights on, start switches on. Midnight wing logo, nope, altimeters are set. And flight levels are good. 10,000 foot. Contacted pressed the attendant call, we did. Monitor that, pressurization, looks good. Just showing descent. Alright, so the missed approach is climb to 5,000, track 270 to Tayback. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put a notch of flaps in because I want to see how this is going to perform. And we're still like chasing right on the edge of the speed bug. That's interesting. Put our approach on. Now I do that when I see the two whites come up on the PFD. That way I can, for me, that tells me that I know that approach will engage, and it's a reminder. It's saying MCP approach disarm required. We'll set our that's interesting. Okay, Carlo, one thing I'm noticing is I'm not getting a, let's see, is it running? Hub had stopped running. It had kicked itself out. Now it's back on. I'm going to put it up here just so I can monitor it. Okay, so now my speed brake is arming. So I had to check it there because I thought it was on, but it wasn't. So now I'm going to go ahead and enable approach speed. Approach, nope, not going to take it. And gear down. See how the trim is just constantly, and it's gonna just keep cranking it up, which is too high. Okay, there we go. Now it's going back down a little bit, so that's good. All right, we're gonna speed intervention, and we're gonna pull this down to 160, and we're gonna go flaps 15. Now approach capture, glide path, and localize. Well, not. Yep. See, it's climbing. See how I mean, it's way too high. See, it's gonna have me pitched way up too much, and then I've got to kick it way down to get to trim all of the up trim out of it. See how far up the trim is? It's way it just keeps like constantly up, and it shouldn't be doing that. It's like way, and I gotta trim out all the tension out of it. See, otherwise I'll let it up, it's gonna continue to climb. We'll go flaps 30. This is why I record these things, so it's easier for you guys to see what's going on. All right, get back on localizer or glide path here. Yeah, so I'm glad I checked it because it actually had kicked out. It wasn't even running. Now it's running. All right, so that's a little bit better. It's a little bit high. Let me get back in line here.
Approaching 27.
Continue.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Yeah, so once you start initiating the autopilot or
4,000 feet remaining.
the flaps, then the trim starts going out of control. And I had to take it off and just manually fly, but that's okay.
3,000 remaining.
That's why we do these videos, so that it's easy for the techs to see what's going on.
2,000 remaining.
All right, auto brake off, flaps up, speed brake off. APU start.
One 100 feet remaining.
So I hope you got a better idea what I'm dealing with on the throttle and what we're working on. So I mean, throttle's awesome, but there's some minor things we need to get ironed out. All right, put the camera back. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Wow, look at that giant dish up there. Whew. Man. That is one big radar dish. I assume that's realistic. Catch that up there, man. Let's see, what are we, 118.3. Saskatoon traffic, American 714, departed runway 27 to Saskatoon on taxiway Alpha to the terminal. We'll cross runway 15 here shortly. Winnipeg traffic. Or Saskatoon traffic. So let's see, make Tim happy here. After landing, flaps are up, speed brakes down, landing lights off, runway turn off, lights as needed, taxi lights on, engine 2 shut down, huh? Let's see, turn off, yeah, that's good. Saskatoon traffic, American 714, crossing 15 at Alpha. Saskatoon traffic.
15.
Yeah, that is one big radar dish up there. Wow. Alright, so terminal building. Interesting, that won't play. APU on. Oh, lost Giovanni, if you're watching or your techs are watching. So the whole bleed panel went dark, and the air conditioning panel, it's all dark over here. Let me see if I can get that. Oh, that's not it. No, I don't have a camera for that, but you can see this. Anyway, it's all dark up here. Which one was it that? One of these I had to adjust it, got it to come back. Yep. So if I adjust the panel bright overhead above the lavatory, then that all comes back on. I don't know if that's associated with the issue with the Grimes light, but wanted to let you know about it. So okay. APU is on, APU bleed pressure is on, and we'll kill the engines, and lights are off, any collision off, call ground, so we can get ground power, seat belt signs are off. Okay guys, well I think that's going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and submit my PIREP. So first one for October, maybe the last one for the time being, but so the other a bit of an anomaly with ProSim is for whatever reason these gates don't line up correctly, and I don't know why that is, but it is what it is. I guess maybe it's because the models and positioning was made with like the PMDG or something and not the ProSim model, and this just happens to be at a different angle based on our view. Not sure what that is, but okay, so let's finish up this. We'll go ahead and shut down. Chocks are in place, parking brakes set, hydraulics serviced, exterior inspection is necessary, maintenance items. That's it for me. That's off, that's off. Ground power is on, and we can kill the APU bleed, so that's good. Hydraulics off. Window heat is off. Probe heat's off. Yaw damper is off. Fuel is off. That's good, all the lights are off. Engine selectors are off. Leadless no smoking's on, so that's good. That's going to do it for us today, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you flying with us. Let's see if there are any questions. Nope, we're